Hey everybody, I'm cooling down after a 12-mile run, and this 12-mile run was supposed to be a 10-mile run, and it wasn't necessarily an accident. It started off as an accident. I mean, I've been telling myself while I've been training for this Spartan race on May 4th, 2019. Right now it's April 2nd, 2019. I've been telling myself for weeks that each week I'm going to run one more mile until I get up to 10 miles. When I get to 10 miles, I'm going to sustain that 10 miles for the next few weeks up until the race. And this week would have been the first week doing 10 miles. It's one long run a week. Nothing too wild for those long distance runners. But I told myself that 10 miles was where I was going to cut it off, going to sustain. And that'd be good enough for my endurance. I'd feel comfortable there, feel confident there. I don't think that's changed. But today I got to 12 miles. And it's not like I took extra laps around a track. I set out today knowing first off, I didn't want to run. I was tired, I haven't been sleeping that much. Knowing second that I hate running. It's not my favorite thing to do. Knowing third that I need to get 10 miles in because not only have I committed to that 10 miles, but it was important to my training going forward to get 10 miles in. And I don't consider myself a stupid person, but I stupidly did math in my head as I began running that I would run straight down this bike path for 5.5 miles. And at the end of 5.5 miles, I'd turn around. And once I made it back to my starting point, that was 10 miles. Now you might be asking yourself, thought you were going to do 10 miles. Why are you running 5.5 miles down if 5.5 miles back makes 11? And the answer to that is my math is a little bit off. Now, I've graduated college. I've gotten a degree. It wasn't in mathematics. 5.5 plus 5.5 sure as fuck is 11, but it was not 10. And I noticed that right around mile 3 or 4. Around mile 3 or 4, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm an idiot. And I'm really about to run 5.5 miles twice to get to 10 miles. I should cut this short. And then in my mind, as I'm trotting along, as I'm continuing to run, I'm not stopping, I realize I already committed to 11 miles. The number is arbitrary. It doesn't matter what the number is. It doesn't matter the mileage that I ran. It doesn't matter how many steps I got in, how long it takes me. I already committed to 5.5 down and 5.5 back. So I might as well get to 11. And then about 5 steps later, I thought to myself, well, if I'm gonna do more, I might as well do more. I use a running app, and it keeps track of how many miles I hit, and on every mile it gives me an update. And I use that as a little bit of motivation that I would wait until I got to that next mile marker to turn around, which means I would get to 6 miles, which means I would do 12 miles. So for all you math experts that did get degrees in math, or at least are better at math than I am, if you realize that 6 and 6 is 12, and 12 is more than 10, you might also realize that out of that is a really solid 20% increase in what I'm doing, which feels like a hell of a lot when in the first place I didn't want to go that 10 miles. I'm going to stop that story for a second because in case you didn't already know, I'm an Equinox Tier 3 Plus trainer. And if you've seen any of the marketing in the last 1.5 years from Equinox, it has to do with getting yourself into a gym and committing yourself. They have a hashtag that is literally commit to something. And I'm not here to market anything, but I realized somewhere around mile 10.5, or mile 11, I guess, that when I set myself out for a short-term goal like that, like my one run today, my 10-mile run, I'm committing myself to that number. I'm committing myself to that goal, committing myself to the actions that it takes to get there. It's not even 2 hours of my time, hopefully. Today wasn't 2 hours of my time, but I'm committing myself to whatever I'm telling myself I wanted to get done. I initially committed to 10 miles. So I got my ass to the bike trail and I said, all right, I'm gonna do 10 miles. And then I committed myself to 5.5 miles. So I now committed to more. And after that, I decided to commit myself to that 6 miles down and back, 12 miles altogether. Excuse me. And I think it speaks volumes to what your head can do for you, what your mind can do for you, what determination can do for you, that you can go from 0 to something you've never done before with just a simple thought. Just a simple thought that I can get it done, so why won't I? I didn't stop for anything other than traffic, having to cross the street, and a stray cat that I saw on the side of the bike path. He's okay, by the way, just in case you're curious, worried. But I didn't stop. I kept moving. It's not the hardest trail in the world. It's not the hardest path in the world. It's relatively flat. But I told myself every time it got hard, you're going 12 miles. You got X miles to go. Just keep your feet moving. The harder this is, the easier everything else is. So I want to put this together for anybody willing to watch what is now going on 7 minutes of talking, so that you might tell yourself next time you have a run or a workout or a business goal or a life goal or a relationship goal or a self-love goal or anxiety or stress or whatever you have to accomplish, whatever you want to accomplish, that if you can commit to that one small thing and you can remind yourself simply that you can do it, that you already committed to it and you're capable of getting it done. If you can remind yourself of that you can accomplish something you haven't done before. Maybe it's not the world. Maybe you're not going to build a rocket ship. You're not going to learn to fly. But something attainable that didn't seem within reach beforehand. I've never run 12 miles before. I sure as shit haven't run 12 miles without stopping. I don't even think I've gone 12 miles in under 5 hours before. Maybe I walked a bunch before, but before today, before wanting to go 10 miles, my longest run was 9.14 miles. And that had 3 or 4 stops in it because my lungs weren't feeling so hot and my legs weren't feeling so hot, so I had to stop a couple times and walk. Before that, it was 8 something. Before that, it was 7.5. Before this whole training thing, I don't think I've ever run more than 5 miles in a clip in a day. And I ran 12 miles today. And I didn't mean to. I didn't want to. But as soon as I told myself that I would, I committed to it. I took every next step, and I got it done. Take every next step, and you can get done something that 2 hours ago you didn't think you could. Hope this finds you well. Talk to you all soon.